Good evening, everyone. This is just a really quick, off-the-cuff, candid video that I want to make. And this goes out specifically to people who are gun owners who have voted for Biden or Harris, or those in Georgia who are voting for Ossoff and Warnock. And I'm just going to come right out and say it. You're a fool. You're foolish. You have no idea what you're doing. If you are a gun owner and if you value, if you don't care about your Second Amendment rights, if you don't care about your right to self-protection, if you don't care about your right to be able to own what you want to own, to be able to protect yourself, how you want to protect yourself and how you see fit, or what guns you use for sport, if you don't care about that, then fine. But for those of you who do, for those of you who went out and purchased, let's say AR, since that's the big elephant in the room all the time, let's just say an AR. Let's just say an AR. First of all, do you realize that ARs account for less than 1% of gun deaths, including accidental and suicide, in this country every year? They don't even factor. But yet, okay, I'll get more to that in a minute. For the people who come up and they say, these people aren't trying to take your guns, they're not trying to disarm you. You know what? You're wrong. You are absolutely wrong. And I want to say it in as kind of terms as I possibly can. But just get out of my face. Just step back and shut your mouth and don't say anything about it again, because you know absolutely nothing. You have been... Your willingness and fidelity to the media and to believe everything that they tell you or believe everything that they show you, and your lack of integrity and laziness to not actually check for the facts yourselves, I'm sorry, you're discredited and you really have no place of opinion at the table of civil discussion, because you don't know what you're talking about. You can't even cite facts. You have no clue. So please, I love you, but back off and don't ever say that to me again. Don't ever say anything like that to me again about they're not coming for your guns, because you're just wrong. Specifically, let's talk about Kamala Harris. Kamala, whatever. I don't care. The huge big deal they made about, you know what, whatever. I don't care. Kamala, whatever. I'm going Kamala. She is an upper class elitist, okay? Just put that right out there. She's an upper class elitist. And she is one of the most arrogant and smug people I have ever seen running for Congress. And you can make your argument about Trump, fine. But the thing with Kamala is she's just... Trump was evil because the media made him evil. Kamala's evil because she is. She is just one of the worst panderers and just users of people, and the way she exploits people. You take the black community, absolutely panders and exploits the black community, while she was throwing men in jail for marijuana use with the strongest terms possible, forcing them essentially into paid slavery to work in fire lines and wildfires. They weren't trained for that. It's a death sentence. She didn't care. She never cared until it came to running for presidency. She is a snake, and it is a forked tongue that flickers behind her curled lips, her fangs. She has threatened Congress to do what she wants in regard to the rights of gun ownership. She is... I'm sorry, I don't want to get off track. So yes, she threatened Congress to do what she wants. In fact, there are some in Congress that have come back against her, saying not only are you going to come in and tell us to do what is unconstitutional, we're going to start carrying ourselves in session. Yes, there are those in Congress who are now telling Kamala, hey, because let's get something straight. Joe Biden is not going to be the president for 2 terms. Absolutely not. In fact, it's most likely he's not going to be the president for 1 term. When they were trying to, Pelosi and them were trying to really push hard for this 25th Amendment, come on, we know what's going on. This is going to be a Kamala Harris presidency, and the woman is wicked. She is wicked. She is not what people are telling you that she is, the people that support her. The people that support her think that because they've never actually done the work to look into her past and her history, her voting record, to see who she really is. She is an awful, awful human. So she will do everything in her power to enforce a mandatory buyback. Mandatory buyback, all right? You want to know what that is? That is theft. When they want to buy back for pennies on the dollar something that you own, something that you have bought into, and let me explain to you how it's going to go. First of all, what they want to do is enact a tax on every semi-automatic weapon, a $200 tax, a $200 tax on every magazine, a capacity of 10 or greater. That's most magazines. So first they want to do that. They want to collect that tax. After they collect the tax, then they want to do the mandatory buyback. What's a mandatory buyback? You're going to do the buyback or else. So yeah, that is theft. That is seizure. And that is exactly what she has said that she's wanted. She's said it on Kimmel. She's said it in interviews over and over. She's made very clear what her intents are. And she says, why? Because babies are being slaughtered? Are you kidding me? Do you want to know, especially when she starts going after the quote-unquote assault rifles, because as she says, they are weapons of war. They have no place in society. I already told you, less than 1% of gun deaths, including suicide and accidental, the assault rifle, the AR, okay? Look at places like Chicago or Baltimore, some of these areas with high gun violence. It's not a gun thing. It's a social thing. It's an economic thing. It's a cultural thing. It's not a gun thing, all right? The guns that are being used aren't legal anyway. They weren't procured through legal means. They're off the black market. They're stolen. That's what they're using. Kamala's ridiculous buyback or else is not going to do anything to curb violence because the people using the gun for violence are not the people who are getting the guns through the legal means who are then going to go back and do a buyback. So when she says a buyback, you have to understand, according to a 2019 interview that she had, she wants what she calls a forced buyback. There's only one term for what that really is, and it's confiscation. It is 100% confiscation. They've already said semi-automatic, right? The assault rifles, and then semi-automatics. Semi-automatics are the pistol that I carry. There's semi-automatic shotguns. There's semi-automatic, right? Just about everything now is semi-automatic. So think about what that means. Oh, we only want to, buy back these assault weapons and these weapons of war, which they're completely wrong on, and the semi-automatics. That's about everything. Other than maybe like a bolt-action hunting rifle, lever-action 30-30, or maybe a 6-shot revolver, like back in the 40s. That's the truth about what's going on. So if you're a gun owner and you voted for those people, not only are you disenfranchising yourself, you are disenfranchising millions and millions of people in this country. So shame on you. Shame on you. Because we have warned you. We have told you about this. And now they're coming out even more brazen about it, telling you what they want to do. So we're going to be left with the choice. Make no mistake, they're going to try. We'll see what happens in the rest of government, but they're going to really push for this confiscation. So yes, that leaves people who are gun owners with a choice. I'm not going to say what that is that loud, but I think you know. I think you know. And for those of you who are gun owners, but you voted for these people, you deserve to give your gun ups to them. You don't deserve to keep them. Not for what you've done to the rest of us. And I know that people will say things like, well, I'm voting for them because I care about our health care. Okay. Ask small businesses and people what the Affordable Care Act did to them. Okay? I can give you lists of people who said it crippled them. It was awful. And then my wife herself, she was fined 2 years in a row because she couldn't afford the insurance. And because she couldn't afford the insurance, then she was fined for it. Yeah. Yeah, great care. And the care was crappy. And people will get on Donald Trump. He put in writing, it already said he wasn't going to do anything to, because that's the big thing is people are afraid of losing, being cut off for pre-existing conditions. He wasn't going to do anything. He said it over and over and over in all of his plans and in his interviews and in writing. They were not going to do anything to lose their pre-existing conditions. So when you voted for these people, you voted on a lie. You voted on a farce. And you did it putting millions of people at jeopardy and millions of people to be disenfranchised because you refused to listen. I don't know what else to say to you. I'm done. Yeah, and I will reiterate, for those of you who come up and say, well, they're not trying to take your guns, don't ever come to me and tell me that again. Don't ever come to me and tell me that, because that is an absolute lie. And when you know what you're talking about, then we can talk. But until you refuse to educate yourself and actually know what's going on, you don't even deserve to come to me and say those words.